the most expensive guitar of all time ever sold. Welcome to my channel. Make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to ring the notification bell to get notified when we upload new videos. The most popular musical instrument in the world is the guitar. They come in all shapes and sizes, and their price range can fluctuate drastically. How drastically? You could buy a used guitar for $20. Oddly enough, you could also buy another used guitar for $2 million. What determines such a wide price fluctuation? Well, there is craftsmanship, materials used, location and expertise of the workers involved, etc. But when it comes to guitars with exorbitant prices, the instrument's history comes into play, and it becomes the most important factor in determining how much money people, very rich people that is, will pay for it. Who owned this guitar? What was recorded with it? What concerts were played with it? Where has it been? These questions become even more important than the wood used, the type of electronics, and even the model. The following list will surely prove it. Without further ado, here are the most expensive guitars in the world ever sold. Just about every guitar player out there has done it at one time or another. You go into your local guitar store, or these days your favorite online store, and you check out what's available. You see a model that you've always wanted, and for a fleeting minute, you can picture yourself walking out the door with it, or again in this digital age, clicking on Add to Cart. Then you look at the price tag, stop dead in your tracks, and go back to looking at guitars that are more within your budget. It can be amazing how much a good guitar can cost these days, right? Here's the deal, though. That Martin D45 or Gretsch White Falcon you've been dreaming of doesn't even scratch the surface when it comes to expensive guitars. Many highly prized guitars have been sold for much, much more than what you may be seeing in the high-end section of your favorite guitar shop. These kinds of guitars are typically one-of-a-kind instruments that have been personally owned and played by the most iconic guitar players to have ever lived, with most having been sold in an auction setting. It makes you wonder, how much would someone pay for a trophy guitar like that? You may be shocked because it's often a lot more than you'd think. It used to be that an authentic Eric Clapton Strat, one used throughout the guitar god's career, could go for almost $1 million at auction, shattering all prior records. These days, however, it's not uncommon for other rockers' instruments to pull down more than 3 times that much. Want to know which guitars currently sit among the most expensive? Unsurprisingly, the vast majority are those that have been previously owned by big-name performers. Let's take a look at the current list of the top 10 most expensive guitars that has ever been sold. 12. Eric Clapton's Blackie Fender Stratocaster. Sold, New York 2004. Price, $959,000. Blackie set a world record auction price at the time of sale, but now barely scrapes into the top 11. When Clapton fancied a Fender Stratocaster in 1970, he bought the entire stock from Nashville's Showbud. He gave 3 to his friends George Harrison, Pete Townshend, and Steve Winwood, and assembled his ideal Strat from the rest: a 56 body, 57 neck, and a third guitar's pickups, 2 50s models, and one 1970 gray bottom. Clapton played it almost exclusively from 1974 to 1985. By the end, the neck was so worn that the low E string hung off the edge, which must be why it didn't quite reach the 1 million mark. 11. Bob Dylan's 1964 Fender Stratocaster. Sold, New York 2013. Price, $965,000. At the 1965 Newport Folk Festival, Dylan went electric, toting this 1964 Stratocaster, which he subsequently left on a private plane. Pilot Vic Quinto picked it up and it stayed with his family for nearly 50 years. Auction catalog photos show it in excellent condition for a gigged guitar, with the 3-tone sunburst largely free of dings or fading. As an example of a pre-CBS Stratocaster, this was a fine specimen even before you consider the history. With the original strap and case included, it was expected to fetch up to $500K. In the event, it stole Blackie's crown. 10. 1958. Gibson Carina Explorer, $100.1 million. This fine Gibson specimen is unique from others on our list due to it not being associated with or played by any particular artist. Its value comes from the sheer rarity, as only 19 of these prized models were ever produced. A few guitarists are known to own similar models in their collections, with Rick Nielsen, Cheap Trick, Kirk Hammett, and Slash being among the most notable. 9. Duane Allman's 1957 Gibson Les Paul, $150 million. That's right, the most expensive Les Paul ever sold is a gold top, not a sunburst. This guitar was used by Duane for the first 2 Allman Brothers records, as well as for the Derek and the Dominoes album, making it a worthy entry on this list. At one point, the guitar was the victim of a bad refinish. Thankfully, it was restored by Tom Murphy to its original state. A former owner, Scott Lamar, frequently loaned this guitar out to the likes of Derek Trucks, Kirk Hammett, and Billy Gibbons. 8. David Gilmour's 1954 Fender Stratocaster, $1.8115 million. When David Gilmour decided to auction off part of his guitar collection to benefit a personal charity interest, he may not have known how much he would be able to raise. The auction was a massive success, raising millions of dollars. The second highest-selling guitar of the auction was Gilmour's 1954 Fender Stratocaster, selling for a staggering $1.815 million. Unlike many of the guitars on this list, this guitar would be collectible even without the Gilmour connection for one special reason. It is serial number 1001. Though it's not the first Strat made, that's number 100 for some reason, it is still one of the first pre-production starts ever made. It was also owned by country star Rex Gallion and then guitar pickup innovator Seymour Duncan before Gilmour got the guitar. On top of that, Gilmour used it to record the iconic Another Brick in the Wall rhythm parts. Between the serial numbers and Gilmour's use of the guitar, it's no surprise that it's on this list. 7. Jerry Garcia's Wolf, made by Doug Irwin, $1.9 million. The late, great Jerry Garcia from the Grateful Dead was known for playing a good number of custom instruments, with nearly all of them given unique one-word nicknames such as Alligator, Tiger, Rosebud, and Lightning Bolt. Following in that tradition is Wolf, which was produced as one of several one-of-a-kind works of art by luthier Doug Irwin. Wolf was last played by its namesake owner in 1993, before Garcia's untimely death from a heart attack in 1995, but Garcia played the guitar heavily in the 70s. From there, the rights to the instrument reverted to Irwin, who then sold it at auction in 2002 for $700,000. It last was sold for $1.9 million at a charity auction in 2017. Since then, its new owner has lent the guitar to be used on stage by artists playing the Grateful Dead's music. Most notably, John Mayer played the guitar with Dead & Company in 2019. 6. Jimi Hendrix's 1968 Fender Stratocaster, $2 million. Jimi Hendrix was known for being primarily a Strat player, and this 1968 specimen, nicknamed Isabella, may be among the most noteworthy. On the morning of August 18, 1969, Hendrix used Isabella for his jaw-dropping performance at Woodstock. This is the guitar that he used to create his legendary version of the Star-Spangled Banner, which incidentally was part of a much longer medley of tunes that was over a half-hour in length. This iconic guitar attained its iconic price when Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen, known to be quite a guitar player on his merit, bought it for a cool $2 million back in 1998. Honorable mention: Bob Marley's Washburn Wing Series Hawk, $1.2 million to $2 million. This guitar isn't officially on the list because the sale price cannot be confirmed, but its speculated sale price of somewhere between $1.2 million to $2 million makes it deserving of an entry. Bob Marley famously owned few guitars, supposedly only 7, and this guitar was one of them. He was never seen using the guitar, but it still became an iconic instrument attributed to him. He gave the guitar to his guitar tech, Gary Carlson, in 1979. After Marley's untimely death in 1981, the Jamaican government declared the guitar a national treasure. It was supposedly sold at a charity auction for around $1.2 million to $2 million. 5. John Lennon's 1962 Gibson J160E Acoustic Electric, $2.4 million. One of the 2 acoustic guitars on our countdown, the Gibson J160E that John Lennon played, is very often seen in older performance pictures of the Beatles. He also used it extensively in the studio, particularly on such early Beatles classics as Love Me Do and P.S. I Love You. It was lost on a Beatles tour in 1963, where it ended up getting sold for the unbeatly sum of $175 in 1969 to an average Joe, where it languished until around 2014. Then, due to some clever detective work by its then owner, he discovered what he had on his hands. Once the guitar's true identity was established, it was sold at auction in 2015 for the very Beatles sum of $2.4 million. Not too bad for a $175 investment. 4. Reach Out to Asia. Fender Stratocaster, $2.7 million. Unlike all of the other choices on our list, this particular Strat wasn't ever really owned or played by any one specific artist. It was conceived as a charity offering by Bryan Adams for the benefit of those impacted by a major tsunami in the Indian Ocean in 2004. This pricey instrument has the unique distinction of being autographed by 19 artists, ranging from Paul McCartney, Eric Clapton, and Jimmy Page to the members of Def Leppard. Good company to be in, indeed, and the ultimate price of $2.7 million is worthy of its noble cause. 3. David Gilmour's famous Black Strat, $3.975 million. Another guitar sold during the Gilmour charity auction was purchased by Pink Floyd mega fan Jim Irsay, owner of the Indianapolis Colts, for just shy of $4 million. This was the highest-selling guitar of the sale, and it's not hard to see why. It's the Black Strat. There are few guitars as iconic as this one. Irsay is a longtime guitar aficionado who often used to get into bidding wars with the late Paul Allen, all in the name of owning some priceless pieces of music history. 2. Kurt Cobain's Smells Like Teen Spirit Fender Mustang, $4,500. His guitar was only sold this year, but it comes in as the second most expensive guitar ever sold. To no surprise, the Fender Mustang that Kurt Cobain played in the Smells Like Teen Spirit video smashed the estimated sale price of $800,000 and sold for a whopping $4.5 million. Though Cobain rarely played the guitar live, it is one of his most iconic instruments and arguably one of the most important instruments of the 90s. The Smells Like Teen Spirit video catapulted Nirvana into the mainstream, pushed the Seattle scene into the spotlight, and changed the face of music in the 90s. Unsurprisingly, this guitar was also purchased by Jim Irsay, who added it to his collection of historic rock memorabilia. Kurt Cobain's 1959 Martin D18 6R. Topping our list of the most expensive guitars ever sold is yet another acoustic, but not just another acoustic, Kurt Cobain's 1959 Martin D18E. Sure, it was the seventh out of only 302 D18Es ever built, but that's honestly besides the point. This was the guitar that the grunge icon used during Nirvana's 1993 performance on MTV's Unplugged, which is highly regarded as one of the best of the entire series. It showed Nirvana was more than just a typical grunge band, as it displayed that the band could be just as ferocious and dynamic in an acoustic setting as they could be during their energetic live concerts. It was purchased at auction by Peter Friedman, the Australian founder of Rode Microphones, way back in 2020, for his collection. This guitar is by far the most expensive guitar ever sold, though we can't help but wonder if this list would be different had David Geffen bought Kurt Leadbelly's guitar. We have come to the end of today's video. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to ring the notification bell to get notified when we upload new videos. See you in the next video.